Usually in sports and a few competitive video games, you play only on one kind of an area with a specific layout, proportion and objects. On this point, StarCraft is very different. While there certainly is a coherent design philosophy behind all the battlefields, there are hundreds to play on. Each battlefield is called a map. A specific map can require minor changes to your strategies, but others can support or deny major ones. So a player does not only have to juggle the stuff we have covered in the last two videos and will cover in the next one, but also have to try and maximize the usage of terrain or various other unique features of a map. It would be pretty dumb though to require the players to be able to play their best on all maps in existence. So in all tournaments there's a so-called map pool, which is a collection of maps, usually 7. Most obviously, an important thing on a map is the placement of your own and your opponent's possible starting locations. Is it a small map with only 2 places to start, or is it big with 4 possible starting locations? Another thing is the placement and vulnerability of the areas to which you would like to expand. It's usual to name the expansions as follows. Your starting base is called the main. The first and most obvious place to you to expand is called the natural, while the rest are called the third, the fourth, and so on based on the order you expand. Not all expansions are the same though. Most expansions have these blue minerals, but some of them have golden. These gold expansions are hard to take and defend, but they give you a lot of minerals back per minute. You will also see a lot of play come down to the terrain of the map. Does a player have to move through a choke or up a ramp? These two things are especially of value to a defensive player, as they'd be able to block off any unwanted intrusion by placing their buildings right at the top of the ramp or in a choke. Placing your buildings like this is called a wall-in. Another important thing to know in regards to terrain is the use of high ground. A map can be made of several levels of terrain. This is important as a unit cannot by itself gain vision to a level above its own. Since vision is required to being able to attack, the player on the high ground is going to have an advantage, except if the player on the low ground is in possession of an air unit to gain the vision anyways. This high ground advantage is especially important for the defender, since bases, especially mains, are placed at a higher level than the rest of the map. The last thing to note are these neutral watchtowers that are placed at various locations on a lot of maps. These towers grant vision of a large part of the map to any player that at the moment has a unit nearby it. This can grant very valuable information, as you then may be able to see an attack earlier and then have much more time to respond. And that is all I think you would need to know about maps in StarCraft 2. We've looked at the naming and the difference between various expansions and bases, but also how terrain can be of importance to the strategies used by the players. Join me next time when I will give you a short rundown of the 3 different races you can play: Terran, Zerg and Protoss.